a while now called pre-cheating. Alright y'all, so real quick, I've been throwing around this phrase for a while now called pre-cheating, which is essentially any actions of your man that he has to defend with, you overreacting. What man doesn't do that? Stop being insecure. To be more specific, it's the stuff you let slide because it doesn't exactly cross the line, yet it didn't feel good whenever you peeped it either. Like the convos he had with the attractive girl that wasn't sexting but it wasn't business related. Or when he hit the club every weekend with his boys, and while you trying to trust him to be on his best behavior, something nagging you wondering why he wants to be in an environment full of singles when his ass ain't single. Whatever the situation may be. Pre-cheating are those actions that don't cross the line, but they're more like a running start, so he can not only cross, but hop clean over the line whenever he's ready to. But why would he pre-cheat? If he gonna cheat, he might as well just cheat. Okay, you know how you let those dishes pre-soak before you wash them? Why do you do that? Because it makes it easier to do what? Wash them. Well, it's the same thing with cheating. It's a whole lot easier when you pre-cheat first. What's going on, y'all? I forgot to mention something on that last video I uploaded, so I was gonna say it now. Anywho, on the last video, I talked about the dude who said that, you know, it's difficult for a guy who's formerly promiscuous to be monogamous with one woman, so she should acknowledge his effort to be faithful, right? Well, he also said something that kind of tickled me. He said, if a guy slips up and cheats, it shouldn't outweigh all the good that he's done up until that point, right? But by woman logic, it somehow does, and he doesn't understand why. I'm gonna tell you why. First off, to say that, you know, cheating shouldn't outweigh all the good that you've done is also to say there's an amount of good you can do to deserve to cheat, which is bullshit. And I shouldn't even have to explain that, because vice versa, we would catch a fucking fit and, you know, decide to be hoes for the rest of our life if a woman were to ever break our heart, no matter how much good she's done. But anywho, you don't know how much damage you've done by cheating on a woman, so we can't reduce it to just one lapse in judgment, you know, one slip up or whatever. That's besides the fact that none of us really slip up and fuck anybody. There was a rapport that we built. There was scoping out that happened. There was putting ourselves in that position. There was flirting. You know what I'm saying? So going by most people's definition of cheating, yeah, you just slip up. But the truth is, you've probably been cheating months before you actually put your dick in her. And more times, I would say 9 times out of 10, when a dude gets caught cheating, that wasn't his very, very first time cheating. That wasn't his only time cheating. That was his only time getting caught. Let's be real. But back to what I was saying, it's not just one slip up. You just caused damage for the next 2, 3 months, 6 months, depending on how much she loved you and how much she had invested in you. Not only that, it can definitely outweigh how much good you've done, because shit, she may question all the good things you've done since you done cheated on her. So if y'all been together a year, right, had no problems, all these good times, all these laughs, all these times you told her that she was beautiful to you, that she was the only one that you wanted, and then you go and you cheat and you go against everything that you said, you caused a year of past damage, plus you caused whatever how much time it's gonna take for her to get back off the ground of the shit that you just did. But somehow that means, you know, one fucking slip up shouldn't outweigh all the good that you've done. Motherfucker, that one slip up might cancel all the shit that you've done.
right, it says I'm live on YouTube. If you guys can hear me in the chat, say aye, please. Now I'm gonna try to go live here on Facebook. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're about to find out. I find some value in what you do, whether I'm a supporter of your book, would rather you just kind of decide after you hear. If I did something wrong, I'm not above no law. I'm not three groups of people in here. The first group are what I call the bloodthirsties. The bloodthirsties are people that don't like me, never like me, been waiting on something, didn't even wait. Matter of fact, over these past 9 years, they even created a couple of things to try to get me caught up or try to have something against me. And now there's something semi-legitimate that is concerns, expectations, questions to ask. Do I practice about my book, Heal Together Without Hurting Each Other? Do I really need a publicity stunt? For this? Do I need help selling this or anything like that? The answer is no. Of course, I want to get this into as many hands as possible, and I'll let you know why. But this book is a part of what I preach. Don't forget your crown. Part of what I preach. The videos that I post, part of what I preach. In order for me to qualify, me letting you guys know whether or not I practice what I preach, I'm gonna have to reference the books. And the most recent one is Heal Together Without Hurting Each Other. And especially what we're gonna talk about tonight is directly related to why I wrote this, what I put in this, okay? So it probably, for those that are just getting in, I see somebody says slow down mode. Is it glitching? Anyway, let's keep it going. I'm gonna write this book. February 1st. This is something a lot of you that has been swirling around or whatever, right? Fast forward a couple of months. In those couple of months, we were working on the marriage. Hey, maybe we can make this work. We're praying. We're going to church about this. Now we're both in Christ. She was already a Christian. I'm a new Christian. And it's not working. Nothing that I implement is working. Nothing that we're having in these conversations is working. Basically start losing hope around, I would say, May. Then we had a disagreement about whether or not to even have the kids here at my place or, up there with her mom. Matter of fact, let's do some fact checking. If somebody wants to pull up my YouTube channel, you can see in the earlier part of 2020 where I'm doing my videos, what you'll see is I'm in Airbnbs up in Denver. I was flying back and forth. Who was this? At that point, I had a beef with God, women, et cetera, et cetera. Now, like we are together, but right now I understand if you got to go out and do whatever. Now, what that spoke to me was I got introduced. Shortly after lawyers got introduced, I realized she wasn't having this. What you'll see is I'm in Airbnb. B's up in Denver. I was flying back and forth over and over again, right? And again, guys, people in the comments, I told y'all the bloodthirsties are here. and they're going to try to dominate the comment section. Ignore them. All right. All right. Anyway, even with all of that being said, I'm flying up. We're meeting with pastors. We're doing this. We're doing that. Things are not working. Around May is whenever we started losing, like both of us started feeling, mainly her though. And then we had an argument about where the kids were going to be, whether they're going to be with me on this date or her with that date. And then lawyers got introduced. Shortly after lawyers got introduced, I realized she wasn't wearing her ring. Shortly after that, because we're continuing to talk as much as possible, we stopped talking. Most of our conversation is in text message. And then we have a conversation. When we do have a conversation, she's letting me know, like, whatever you need to do because you're not my responsibility. I'm not linked to you. Like, we are together, but right now I understand if you got to go out and do whatever. Now, what that spoke to me was, I don't care if you're going to be with other women, et cetera, et cetera. But that wasn't my green light. My issue is this. At that point, I had a beef with God. I gave my life to Christ on February 4th, 2020. Matter of fact, some of y'all that follow my Twitter may have seen me a couple of weeks ago talking about how I just hit my 1-year mark. I gave my life to Christ and my whole life fell apart. My marriage fell apart. At this point, I'm not seeing my kids. I'm helping people best I can, but that's not giving me fulfillment. I got money, I got this, that, and the other. And I really honestly just went to a place of effort. Just screw it. I don't care no more. I don't care about being a good man because look where it's got me. I don't care about serving God because look where it's got me, right? That
What's going on, guys? Derek Jackson here, and today I am joined by my lovely wife, Danae, and we just wanted to address a couple of things. We understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. Now, I would say it just started around August, maybe September of last year. But, a lot has been said already about what was the cause and all that other stuff. Some of it is true. Some of it is completely false. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be
I haven't completely stopped. So if you want to say like Derek, that's, you tripping for not coming forward and saying that your own marriage is in shambles or whatever. That's what I definitely know. It's a little glitchy right now. Denise says, I'm glad that you put God as a reason. You can't do it based on emotions. In terms of doing things God's way, something in that capacity. That's why I hit her up instead of somebody that I had actually had sexual relations with. I got to get deep. I'm not able to perform when I'm super stressed. I didn't even, like, oh, my values are. Somebody said, did I sleep with her? No, I did not sleep with her. I never slept with her. Our relationship was sexual in nature from day one. I've been acquainted with her 9. With God. And I only was making a contingent based on that is according to what I preached in my books. That is why is that? Because my platform is not my platform anymore. Crown that you're not supposed to do. I'm referencing this because this is what I preach, to start having real conversations. It's like you can kind of depend on the way that you want to do things. You can kind of depend on spiritual covenant. When you're in a covenant with God, So anyway, I sent her that text message. I blocked her on everything. You don't want to deal with a man who's separated because we have been talking. I was letting her know, hey, I threw away every bit of other things that I was using. If my wife is ring off totally not talking to me, my kids. And something that he told me basically changed my life. No sex, but she was tripping out. I'm smoking, I'm getting high, still no sex. But we kicking it, we chilling. And for some reason, she needed to use my. She comes back the next day. We come back, we go. Here's the thing. So me and Candace have had a sexual relationship with after this. Here's the thing. So me and Candace have had a sexual relationship without actually having sex.
Now is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and
The thing. So me and Candace have had a sexual relationship without actually having sex.
that I'm talking about as serious as talking about just casual with other women. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people that I've had a previous encounter with. But without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate, cheating, affair, stepping out, definitely not in alignment with the vows that I took, and definitely not in alignment with the biblical standard of what it means to be faithful, which is the standard that I'm going by now. Now, I'm saying this publicly, not because I'm, married to you guys. First and foremost, I'm accountable to God. Then I have to be accountable to my wife, in which we've already had this conversation. I've already told her literally everything. I've given her basically a roll call list. If I've said hello to a woman in the last 12 years of me knowing her, she knows about it. But now that it's been made so public, it's important that I first off let you guys know I do not stand by those actions. I don't want to encourage anybody to do that. And then secondly, I know that I cannot build a platform preaching certain things, preaching against certain things, and then in my real life live contrary to that for any amount of time or any length of time to any extent and think that I can't be held accountable. The same way that I preach, men and women in this situation need to face consequences of their actions, deserve to be held accountable. Guess what? Derek Jackson's no exemption. He's not exempt from that. I'm also not a victim. Nobody made me do this. She didn't make me or push me to do it. The next person didn't make me. No friend influenced me. It don't matter how I was raised and what trauma, whatever. Look, I made decisions. I made a series of decisions that I got to account for. There's no excuse or justification. I've already made that bed and have had to lie in it. And now we're finally getting on to the other side personally in our own healing, in our own marital oneness. And now this is being made public to you guys. So we're bringing that forth to you guys to let you know where we're at with that. But did you want to say anything?
Yes, so I do want to just add that I agree with what he just said. There is no justification for bringing other women into our marriage on any level. And it was unacceptable, and it's not something that I tolerate or that we tolerate moving forward. And when I've been flooded again with messages and these things and about I need to leave or why haven't I left? And the answer is, when I found out about it, I left. I did not hesitate or waste time to do so. And I stayed gone. No matter how many times he came, I stayed gone and stood firm on, I am not coming back. And I did not come back until I seen a shift and a change in his mentality, in how he carried himself, in how he presented himself in conversations that we were able to have that we had never been able to have in just 12 years of knowing each other. And when we were able to have these dialogues said, okay, Lord, this is something that you've had your hand on. And this was with me being completely removed from his life. And him pursuing God, continuing to pursue God, and continuing to eliminate these things that led up to the catastrophe that you guys are seeing for the first time. So there's nothing out there right now that is information that I don't already know about or haven't known about. And so this is not something that is new. We have moved forward from it. We have gotten counsel for it and continue to do so. He is still continuing to pursue God, continuing to seek guidance and wise counsel from men of God. And that is what I needed for the continuation of me being present in this marriage and to stand by his side. So today, where I'm at is at peace, and I proudly stand by his side, and I have no hesitation, I have no hurt, no shame about that. And it's only because of the grace of God and the mercy of God. And we have already turned a new chapter in this story. We are continuing to move forward, and we are just now sharing that with you all. And I forgave him, and most importantly, God has first forgiven him, and I also forgive the others as well. And with that, we are free and moving forward. So that's all I have.
Yeah. And I get it. Some of y'all, like, this may come as a huge shock, probably a huge disappointment. I let a lot of you down. If you've had a perspective shift on who Derek is, hopefully it's away from anything remotely close to perfection, and it is simply that, I am a human, and that does not justify anything that I did. But I don't want anybody out there to be putting me on a pedestal. If you did, and I hate that you did that. Maybe I gave you cause for that, and I apologize if I did. For those who are saying, Derek, I don't want to ever listen to you again, it's totally understandable. I appreciate you while I had your support and helping me get the message out about healing and healthy relationships to so many people who needed it, myself included. And for those who are going to continue to support, man, I appreciate you like never before, because I know it's not going to be easy going forward, at least for a little while so many things are still fresh and attached to my name. But for everybody out there, if you get nothing else from what I've ever said over the last 9 years or right here in this video, please get this. Nothing is right until it is right with God. Nothing works until it comes into alignment with biblical standard of how God told us to do things, especially when we're talking about a marital, spiritual covenant.
Yes.
You cannot do this by your own understanding, your own intelligence, your own willpower, your own values. You have to have the grace of God to break free from certain things, to stay away from certain things, to not operate from your lowest self, whatever it may be. And it's because it's really only by God's grace that we're even able to be here on this video, holding hands. Well, like a year ago, 7-8 months ago even, I couldn't see this happening. I thought it was over, and I already had begun establishing my relationship with God. But that's the fruit of bringing things in alignment with God. And the mess that's been made, the mess that's now being made public from last year and years past, that's a result of getting out of alignment with doing things God's way. So that's where I stand. That's where we stand. And again, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon. Peace.